Hello everybody, it's me again, GMS Political Talk Show. Now, yesterday, our Minister Lawrence Wong, have come out again to talk about this COVID-19 thing, a pre-election rally again. The problem is, he started off with praising himself and his task force again. He said, we have done a good job. What good job? They are not realistic at all. Anybody that look at what they have done will realize that there's a mess they have made out of the COVID-19 problems. Right from the start, they should have listened to opposition people like us. Universal masking and social distancing is the key to contain this virus, but they didn't. They still go on to give all sort of expert advice. But look, why are we ended up with 39,000 infections in Singapore right now? Is that a good result? Good result from a management? Is an F. Fail. As long as they do not realize or acknowledge there are real shortcomings of their leadership, there's no hope for Singapore under their leadership. And we have to make them wake up. The only way to do that is to vote for more opposition parties MP into parliament. I'm not just saying one or two. I'm not just saying one party or two parties. But we need diversity in this political ecosystem for it to work well for the good government that we inspired to build. You cannot build a good government by having people who didn't know what went wrong, who didn't know what failed, and don't even know they have done badly. No, this cannot be the government that we want for the next 5 to 10 years' time. Having said that, they are still putting everyone at risk to insist on an early election, most probably in July. Now, the absurd thing about this election in July, it says, if the candidate is sick or quarantined due to COVID-19, he or she doesn't need to appear in nomination center and still can carry on the contest. However, I've asked the reporters, what about the assenters and the proposers? Are they required to be present if they are sick or quarantined? They said no, they must attend the nomination process. I said that's absurd. How can the assenters and the proposers more important than the candidates? It doesn't make sense. What happened halfway through the campaign? Touch wood. The candidates fell really ill, critical condition, and never recovers. Are we going to have a by-election again? It doesn't make sense to have a COVID-19 elections. Such rules are irresponsible to both the voters, the candidates, the assenters, and the proposers. It does no justice to democracy. There's no reason to rush through an election like that. We have plenty of time, up to next year's April, latest. So, would you vote someone who put your lives at stake just because they want a quick election? They want a clean sweep on seats. this is something for everyone to think about. On the note of how this new normal, what I call a new norm, to live with this COVID, the threat of the coronavirus threat, Lawrence Wong has not come out with a comprehensive plan. Yes, he has said, we will have more testing, aggressive testing, but he didn't mention universal testing, which is very crucial if we want to make sure that everyone is safe. Right? He mentioned about, we will continue to have masking, but he didn't have come with a comprehensive measures how to keep the mask on majority of all Singaporeans and residents in Singapore, including the foreigners. We know by now that actually foreigners from temperate countries are not used to wearing a mask in this hot and humid situation in climate in Singapore. So how, the challenge is actually how we can make sure the mask will not be taken out by them on and off. He has no clear answers. How do we make sure our businesses can continue with minimum compromises of space? For example, restaurants, eateries, coffee shops, you are going to put eggs everywhere. It cannot cope. Even in the normal times, during peak hours, there are not enough seats already. How do you expect life to be normalized in a new normal in such situation when you want to cross out? Now, I read a CNA report on one of the food court that comes up with acrylic shield, which I have actually advocated in my Facebook. Yes, that's the way. That's one way of doing it, right? However, does the government of the day have the rules and specification for people to follow? The food court can do anything they want, but at the end of the day, we will face a government led by Lawrence Wong, who keep changing the rules. And in the end, businesses have wasted money on all this, and he said, "Bopake." It cannot be done. It cannot be used. Then what? Lawrence Wong have to get all the agencies to sit down with all the stakeholders, be it the construction, the F&B, or otherwise. Sit down and discuss what are the best options for each categories to provide basic protection of masking to prevent them from spreading the virus, and in a practical and realistic way. Instead of saying, we have done this, we have done that. No, that's not good enough. Universal tracing, he said, with a tag and all that will be good. I'll tell you, Lawrence Wong, prevention is better than tracing. Prevention is better than trying to mitigate the risk after infection occurs. Universal tracing, you might show your strength in good tracing people. We are a police state country where we have a lot of surveillance cameras around. We do not need another device that will track us all around Singapore. Right? So this is unnecessary money that we are spending. As long as we learn from the good practices from Hong Kong and Taiwan, or even China, and make sure that infections are eradicated or kept at a very low percentage. We do not need all this expensive toys. So for the next election, I hope Singaporeans voters, especially the voters, think carefully whether PAP leaders have passed their mark. We all felt that they have failed. Well, domestic helpers, migrant workers, dormitories, they did not manage well. And it caused an explosion of infection. They were happily going on with Chingay procession, parade, right? Chingay parade, air shows, even when the virus is showing speed in the spread. And I would regard that as an irresponsible decision. And eventually it created a complacency in people. And we have a big cluster coming up from those who are from the grassroots, who are involved in the Jurong Safra dinner. These are all the missteps of weak leadership or incompetent leadership. It is time for us to think what strong government means to us, not to PAP. I hope you will use your votes wisely in the coming election. Thank you.